Hello and welcome to World in 2 Minutes, brought to you by trtworld.com. Let's take a look at this hour's developing stories. City leaders in Ferguson, Missouri will hold their first public meeting since last month's fatal shooting of an unarmed black teenager by a white police officer that ignited nights of unrest. The Ferguson City Council, made up of the mayor and 6 members, was expected to hold the meeting at an area church at 7 p.m. by local time to accommodate what is expected to be a large crowd. Protesters have been demanding the ouster of both Mayor James Knowles III and Ferguson Police Chief Tom Jackson. Officials are under fire for how they handled the aftermath of the August 9 shooting. Protests have continued both in Ferguson and across the country over what demonstrators say is a long history of police intimidation and abuse of blacks in the St. Louis area and many other U.S. cities. Human Rights Watch report has alleged the Israeli authorities have employed an unlawful coercion policy to force almost 7,000 African asylum seekers to leave Israel, putting them at risk of imprisonment and torture upon returning to their home countries. Home to approximately 50,000 African asylum seekers, Israel recognized only 2 African asylum seekers among 7,000 as refugees in that same time. The government has defended its policies by stating that it cannot absorb the asylum seekers whilst also preserving the state's Jewish character. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said in July that repatriating African asylum seekers is a goal that is essential for the welfare of Israel's citizens and for its future as a Jewish and democratic state. Since its creation in 1948, Israel has recognized less than 200 asylum seekers as refugees, according to human rights groups. According to a preliminary report published by the Dutch Safety Board, M817, which was shot down over eastern Ukraine in July, broke up in mid-air as a result of structural damage caused by a large number of high-energy objects that penetrated the aircraft from outside. The report said there was no evidence of technical faults or an emergency situation prior to the crash, which killed all of 298 of its passengers. Although the report does not apportion blame for the crash or mention that the plane may have been hit by a missile, its conclusion that MH17 was hit by a large number of high-energy objects appears to be consistent with suspicion that the plane was brought down by a surface-to-air missile which breaks into shrapnel shortly before it hits its target. She Taxis, which will be called Sheredy in New York City, is a brainchild of Estella Matteo, a mother of 2 girls and wife of the founder of the New York State Federation of Taxi Drivers. Her company works just like Uber or Lyft, allowing customers to order a car using a smartphone app, except that the She Taxis app also asks whether there is a woman in the user's party. If not, the app automatically recommends other taxi services. Recent examples of taxi harassment have demonstrated the need for a company like She Taxis. Multiple incidents of sexual harassment from male taxi drivers were reported in US previously. And that was all for World in 2 Minutes, brought to you by trtworld.com.